So today's video is going to be me tier ranking some fantasy characters based off of the character design. And in order for characters to appear on this list, there has to be some form of source material that I can kind of base what they're quote-unquote supposed to look like off of. So most of the time, these characters will be in some form of an adaptation where they are adapted from books, but occasionally we'll have something where they're from a video game, or maybe there's a remake, which I'm counting as an adaptation, or sometimes maybe a couple times they're kind of a sequel where they drastically change the characters, and maybe I did or did not love the character design in the sequels. A lot of this is just going to be my random thoughts about whether or not I like the look of it, but I'm going to try to actually take into consideration what the costume design is like, if the character's features match, if their eye color matches, if their hair is matching. And on the topic of hair, a big thank you to today's sponsor, which would be A Function of Beauty. Just like all of the fantasy characters in this video, everybody's hair is unique. That's kind of the main point of Function of Beauty's shampoo and conditioner and hair products in general, is that they make products specifically for your hair types. They consider your hair profile, your hair type, the moisture, your scalp, your hair history, any concerns that you have with your hair goals. You get to pick up to 5 different goals that you have for what you want the products to do for your hair. You get to pick out the fragrance, the color, you can have your name on the bottles, and then there are extra goodies you can get as well. Naturally, my hair is kind of on the thinner side, it leans straight, but I have a dry scalp, but then the hair itself can get oily and then dry ends. I've been using their products for a while now, and it's so nice to actually have specific products for my hair at this point. It's shinier, it feels really soft, it's easy to work with, it holds the various different styles that I do with it. They are dermatologist tested, and they use really clean ingredients, so no parabens, sulfates, GMOs, or toxins. They're 100% vegan and cruelty-free. You can get 20% off your first set when you click the link in the description bar down below. Jumping into the characters that will be making appearances for this list, in no particular order, we have Ahrith, Alina, Siri from Netflix, Siri from The Wild Hunt, Cloud, Daenerys Targaryen, General Kerrigan, Geralt, Netflix show, Geralt, the video game, Nesh, Jesper, Kaz, Mal, Riku, Tifa, Lara Croft, specifically Angelina Jolie movie, Lara Croft, Yennifer from Netflix, Yennifer from the video game, and then Yuna from Final Fantasy X-2. There's only one time that a character is from something where I haven't had experience with the source material, and that would be Daenerys. I decided that I would wait until all the books were out to start Song of Ice and Fire. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to start a Song of Ice and Fire now, but I still wanted to include her on the list because I wanted at least one Game of Thrones character on here. Getting into the ranking though, the different categories, at the top we have Chef's Kiss, which is just mwah, I love it, it's perfect. After that we have I like it, so there's just I enjoy it, I like it, I think it's good, but there's just something that's keeping it from being mwah. After that we have the category of sure. And then last, and not a good place to be, is what happened. Okay, starting with Ahrith. Ahrith is a character from Final Fantasy VII. The original character design comes from a very older video game that honestly looked horrendous, but I played it and I loved it because it's Final Fantasy. And I gotta say, I mean, it's hard to even figure out what these characters look like because this was not exactly top of the graphics game time period for video games. However, when they made the remake for Final Fantasy VII, I've got to put Ahrith in the Chef's Kiss spot. I think her outfit is perfect. I think the way that they kind of made her hair in this new remake, it's basically the same hairstyle, they just kind of toned down what looked like horns, and they're her bangs, but they toned it down, but I think they toned it down the perfect amount. It looks great. The colors of her clothes are perfect. Her features are perfect. I just, starting off swell here. I think Ahrith in the Final Fantasy VII remake, perfect. Chef's kiss. Next up, we have Alina. So Alina comes from the Grishaverse, specifically the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo, and this is the character that I'm featuring is from the Netflix adaptation. And I just put it in, I like it. I don't think this is this is nobody's fault. It's not Netflix did a bad job with her hair or with her costume design or, you know, the way they did the makeup for the characters or anything like that. I actually think all of that was pretty good. I know a lot of people were very picky about the outfits. She has a couple of different looks in the show, depending on certain events that are transpiring, and I really liked a lot of the outfits they had her in. I thought the hair was really cool. They did so many cool things with it. And I feel like the amount of makeup the characters were wearing was fitting for this fantasy world, because they're not exactly super glamorous or anything like that. But ultimately, I don't feel like there's a ton they could have done about this particular fact, but Alina's supposed to look kind of sickly, and to the point where she's almost got like a green tint to her skin. She doesn't look amazing. And they couldn't, I feel like it would have been terrible to ask the actress, like, can you just stop eating for a while? You know what I mean? Like, what are they supposed to do? They could have maybe done more. And it does have to do with something in the story. There's a reason that she kind of looks this way. But I don't feel like they didn't really do anything makeup-wise or special effects-wise to really incorporate that detail. And that's basically the only reason that I have it and I like it. And again, there's not, I feel like, a ton of specifics in the books to what Alina looks like other than sickly. So she's just gonna be hanging out and I like it. Next up, we have the two different versions of Siri. We have Netflix Siri and then we have video game Siri. So Netflix Siri is going to be younger because, if you don't know, the video game The Wild Hunt is a what-if scenario that would take place after the events of the books. So the character is going to be older than she would be in the books, and the Netflix show is adapting the books. That's why you see the difference in ages here. For the Netflix show, I just put it in sure. And the reason I put it in sure, maybe you think this is kind of silly, but I think the actress is perfect. I love this actress for the character. I can't wait to see her kind of grow up throughout the series. But her hair is supposed to basically be white. I know that's such a silly thing to care about, but it kind of matters to me because the character Geralt, there's this kind of father-daughter like bond between these characters, and his hair is white as a result of undergoing too many mutations basically in becoming a witcher because he was able to take on more. That's kind of like his backstory. By having his hair be white and then her hair is described as basically being white in the series, then it kind of weirdly enhances this father-daughter relationship. I don't know. It's so silly. And they just kind of made her blonde, which is fine. But I kind of wish they'd gone, you know, her hair being white. Another silly detail. I feel like the contacts could have been more intensely green because her eyes are described as being really, really intensely green. And they were just kind of, I mean, they were green, but those two strikes, you know. I still think it looks good, but I don't really have any strong negative feelings, and I don't have super strong positive feelings, so I just put it in sure. Siri from the Witcher video game, I love it. Chef's kiss, perfect. She looks like how you would imagine Siri in the books, and granted, a lot of us were introduced to Siri from the video game, so it's very possible I'm biased, but the way that she behaves in the books, her attitude, so well represented in the way that she looks in the video game. They also incorporated some details from the books in her general appearance. They made her hair more white. There's a scar that she has. I'm like, oh, all of it. Fantastic. She's perfect. Next up, we have Cloud. This is another character who originally was in the Final Fantasy VII video game that they have remade. And I love the way that Cloud looks in the remake. It's perfect. Well, first off, if you take in-game graphics, I mean, who knows what that's supposed to look like other than Legos. But the character design and drawing that they originally had and the way that they transformed Cloud for the remake, it's perfect. I don't have a whole lot to say. The hair is great. He looks young, but he has this kind of, this vibe to him, you know? This interesting, what's your backstory? And he still has the sword is still unbelievably ridiculous, and I love it. Now on to Daenerys. So I put Daenerys in I like it. Because I haven't read the books, I can't say with certainty, like, she was supposed to look like this. I'm pretty sure she was supposed to have purple eyes, but apparently I think she said that the contacts were too uncomfortable. I'm just wondering if the actress who played Yennifer was like, excuse me. Either way, I know that she's not absolutely exactly like what she's supposed to look like in the books, so this is purely just me saying my general thoughts about how they made this character come to life. And I do really, really like it. There's just one thing, and I know this is the silliest thing, but her hair always looks amazing, right? Her outfits are super cool. I love that the show gives her all these different outfits, and they kind of represent the different places that she's in. She looks very much like a queen. I love it. Her hair, though, I'm like, do they have Hot Tools or something? Because some of those hairdos, no. Cool braids are not going to make your hair look like that. I love the look of her hair, though, so I'm not complaining from a, enjoying cool hair factor. But yeah, I don't know. Unless every morning they've got a curling wand or something, I feel like her hair shouldn't quite always be that perfect. That was very silly. I know that was very silly. Switching to General Kerrigan from Shadow and Bone. I put General Kerrigan in Sure. They're kind of this very important class, essentially, the Grisha are. And he's kind of an important person within all of that. So it makes sense that his clothing would be a reflection of that. And he is supposed to basically always be wearing black. There's just something about his look that I don't know what it is. I'm so sorry. I cannot pinpoint it. But I don't feel negatively about it. I also just don't feel that positive about it either. Next up to the two different Geralts. So there's Geralt Netflix, and then there's Geralt from the video game. Because Geralt from the video game, once again, it's a what-if scenario, they don't need to make every detail exactly the same as in the books. For example, his beard. He has usually facial hair. You can shave it in the game if you want, and it grows back because it's super realistic. But either way, I love the way that the game made him look. I absolutely love the look. I think that his eyes look appropriately Witcher-like. I love his white hair. I love you can switch up the armor, but I love the original armor that they kind of have in all the cutscenes and whatnot. I should say the cutscenes they advertise. But either way, I just love it. Once again, I'm probably biased. Netflix Geralt, I put in Sure. When they were making the show, the reason they didn't give him facial hair is because they were saying they wanted to be really true to the books, and he doesn't have facial hair in the books, and they are adapting the books, so I respect that. I respect that they were like, we're gonna go with what it says in the books. But it's been a while since I've read Witcher, so correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't he have a headband? Like he wears... Anyway, I feel like if they wanted to go all out, maybe they would have incorporated that. But either way, I just put it in Sure. I don't love it as much as I love Wild Hunt Geralt. Next up, we have Nesh. I really wanted to put Nesh in Chef's Kiss. Also, this actress is the perfect Nesh. I just want to throw that out there. I love her outfit. I love the fact that she's got all her knives on her. I love just how they kind of did her makeup. She just looks she's the Wraith. That's what she looks like. She looks awesome, phenomenal. But isn't she supposed to have a braid basically all the time? I think they only really gave her a ponytail. I'm so sorry that so much of the character design stuff is coming down to their hairdos, but this is why I picked characters that had some form of an adaptation, so it wouldn't just be like, I like this one, this looks great. I'm talking kind of being picky about specific details, and I'm pretty sure Nesh is supposed to have a braid. So that's the only reason it's not in Chef's Kiss. Jesper is in Chef's Kiss. I just think Jesper is basically perfect, from his slightly askew hat to his not all the way buttoned up shirt, his posture, which isn't really character design, it's just the actor being amazing. He just brought this character to life. The costume, they brought him to life with that. The way that his weaponry, the way he goes, everything about Jesper, I just thought was absolutely perfect. Kaz, once again, a very minor detail. But I think Kaz, it comes down to hair again. I think Kaz is supposed to have darker hair, and then I think it's supposed to be almost shaved on the sides. I don't really know why they didn't go that route. Maybe they tried to see what the actor would look like with darker hair, and maybe it just didn't look great. But I still really liked it. I wanted to put him and Nesh both in Chef's Kiss, but they're not 100%, they're not 100% true. As far as personal feelings, they go in Chef's Kiss, but being picky, they go in I Like It. By the way, does anyone else feel like if you just had some cool special effects makeup, or maybe waited a little while, that this actor could play Glokta? He's already got the cane, which, by the way, another great detail on their end. He wears a hat. I don't know. He's got that intense look. I feel like he could be Glokta. Next up, we have Mal. I just put Mal in Sure. There isn't really a big reason. I just didn't have a lot of strong feelings. I feel like this is because we don't get a ton of description of Mal necessarily. So I thought his costume design was fine. Next up we have Riku from Final Fantasy X-2. What did they do with precious little Riku? This goes in what happened. I did not like. Well, first off, I pretend that this game didn't happen. But why? Why did they put Riku in a weird little bikini? It's like she took parts of Yuna's old outfit and then made sleeves with those, and then she couldn't really be bothered to get dressed at all past that. She's got this tiny little skirt that I'm like, what? Why aren't you just wearing some shorts again? Your shorts were cute before. What is this weird little... Anyway, it's just, I don't know what this outfit is. And then on top of it all, she has a scarf. I'm like, yeah, I'd be cold too if I was walking everywhere in my underwear. It's fine sometimes to have characters who are scantily clad. It's just, I just feel like this outfit's ridiculous. Next up, we have Tifa. I put Tifa in, sure. So Riku is from Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2. Tifa is once again from the Final Fantasy VII remake, and then also, of course, the original. I think that they almost got her perfect, right? Her outfit is exactly the same, essentially. It looks great. I think her eyes look awesome. The voice acting is awesome. I really like Tifa. Tifa is a larger chested lady, you know? And I get that Final Fantasy VII is not exactly known for realism. Like I said, Cloud with that giant sword, and just, I mean, they have a character who has a gun for an arm. I get that realism is not Final Fantasy VII's wheelhouse here, but there are large-chested women who exist in the world, and I don't know why they couldn't draw one, or they couldn't design one that had normal proportions, because I'm pretty sure Tifa, growing up in the slums, wasn't like, you know, I'm trying to help with Avalanche, and help with Marlene, and the bar, but also I need to get some work done. I don't know, I mean, because that's what she looks like, which is fine, you know, if she wanted to get some work done, that's fine. Her original character was large-chested, but it's like they inflated her bra, and she wears a sports bra too. I don't know if they know, but sports bras do not necessarily make things go out. They usually smush things down. So in Tifa's case, when you're punching a bunch of stuff, things don't move around. Next up, we have Lara Croft. I consider this fantasy because basically it is. And I'm specifically doing Angelina Jolie, Tomb Raider. I put this in, I like it. Honestly, Angelina Jolie, I remember when they made the Tomb Raider movie, and I mean, I don't know if they're the most amazing films in the world, but they have a special place of nostalgia in my heart, because I thought Angelina Jolie was perfect. First off, they've got the braid, and even though her clothes aren't exactly the right colors, it's so the look. It's so the look of Tomb Raider, and I love it because the colors of her outfit are not exactly the same. That's why she's not in Chef's Kiss. But honestly, Angelina Jolie is the real Lara Croft. Now on to Yennefer. Once again, a Witcher character. We have Yennefer Netflix and Yennefer from the video game. I put Netflix Yennefer in sure, and then I put the Wild Hunt one in I like it. So neither of them, in my opinion, get Yennefer's hair perfect. Yennefer's hair is such a thing in the books. They're constantly talking about this wavy, curly black hair, this mane of black hair, and I just don't think either version of her really captured that. I will say that's basically the only thing that I don't feel like they captured perfectly in the Wild Hunt, which is why she's in I Like It. Whereas with the Yennefer in the Netflix adaptation, I feel like her eyes should be more vividly purple. Once again, if it's a contact issue, I mean, I would not wear contacts ever for anything because I don't want to touch my eyes. And then I know this is maybe something that a lot of other people wouldn't care that much about, but I was talking about before with Daenerys that her hair is almost unrealistic because unless they're waking up every morning and all of her people are like, my lady, let me curl your hair for you. I just think that Yennefer should have more makeup. And it's talked about in the book, she has powers. She's a sorceress, so she can make herself look a certain way. And she always... The books do describe her as being quite made up. Last on this list is Yuna from Final Fantasy X-2, also Final Fantasy X. Yuna in Final Fantasy X is precious. She has a really cool outfit. She's a little angel. I love Yuna. She's so sweet. Yuna in Final Fantasy X-2 goes through that transformation that all women go through when they've been through some stuff, and that she gets an interesting haircut. She converted her really long, pretty skirt into a pair of booty shorts, and then she's got pistols now for some reason. I don't know why, but she's got pistols instead of her. Yuna in 10-2 makes no sense. She makes no sense. She just, I don't know why. I don't know why they did that. I do like the touch of the Xanarkand in her outfit now. That's the only thing really that I like about it. That's a lie. I actually kind of like that they incorporated similar colors to her previous outfit. I mean, the whole game's fighting combat is just about outfit changing. But anyway, she's in What Happened. What happened to my Yuna? And on that note, I want to read to you when I was looking for an image of Yuna for this video. This specific image underneath the picture, it says, "Me mom wouldn't allow Final Fantasy X-2 because this was the back cover." Anyway, that's it for ranking some fantasy characters, their designs. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. I'd be happy to do more tier ranking videos. This is my very first one. Usually I rank things from bottom up, but either way, I had a good time. Hopefully this was fun for all of you. Don't forget, of course, to check out Function of Beauty. If you'd like to see me do the character design concept again, but in the future it doesn't have to be characters who had some form of original content that they came from, and it's just characters in general, I'd be happy to do that too. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Bye.